Welcome back. We are on the bug as usual. Had a little break, went to the desert, got all that business done. Little Jewel is fired up, so that's cool. Working on this bug, we did this front bumper thing. I don't know if it's a bumper, it's a detail, so that's cool. There's another thing I wanted to address, and it's a big reason I was leaving the roof off. We're gonna have to access a lot to make these doors work, so to reach in the top is going to be a lot better with no roof on it. So the structure's in place there, but how do the doors work and how do the door windows work is what we're up to now. So let's get into the door skins and revise a couple things and set up some stuff for the window glass. I'm going handheld here for a second because we had a little issue with our camera gear. I still have the fancy glasses and 2 still cameras, but our camera mounts are in the trailer at home. So we're going to try out this little magnetic thing, this little magnet on a floor jack. We'll see how that works out. So things seem a little bit different because we have one height and we do a little adjuster there. So I'm going to move this around, try to follow the action. Here's our doors, and here's our other camera up on this stand with a rubber block. All right, check it out. This is what we're up to with the inside of the doors. I'm going to bring it over here also, so you can see there's nothing in there. Last time we worked on this, I was creating some kind of an armature. You could see the the potential window channel. Whoa. Right there. It's just a piece of square tube that we cut one wall out, and we're trying to make like a window that swung up and down, and that really wasn't the best idea. I got to thinking about Volkswagens and Volkswagen Bus specifically. So for a window this wide, and with the angles being what they are, I was thinking, why not like a Volkswagen Bus? Somewhere in here there'll be a little overlap of 2 panels of glass, and they'll just move like that, either front or rear. I did it on this chop top VW bus, and it worked out awesome. So you'll see one little line in the glass. There wouldn't even need to be a metal divider. So I think that's what we're going to do. These doors are curved, and glass is flat. So we're going to have to come up with a way to mount that straight shot for the glass on these curved sheet metal doors. How are we going to do that? With a piece of tube, just like we did most everything else. All right, I got 1.5 inch tube over here. I'm going to probably work on the little fold-out table first because I'm trying not to shake the workbench. For the rest of the video, let's not pay attention to this knurled steel jack handle. How's that sound? Here we are with the only proper camera in the shop. Got these 3 pieces of leftover 1.5 inch tube. We used this on some of the front bumper stuff. And of course, the material we have isn't long enough for the job. We can get 1 door full, but those 2 pieces will not be the second door. So I'm going to come up with a little adaptation. But what I'm looking at is from this B pillar, right? Over here, the A pillar. Let's just put this inside. You can really grasp how curved this door is, right? So that's what we're up against. We're going to get this piece of tube to index in here. And for the flat glass, there'll just be a larger sort of shelf where this door turns over to touch the glass. So that's what we're going to do. Let me get a tape measure. We'll get to it. So what we need is a piece of tube that's going to go in the door. It doesn't attach here to the portion going up into the roof. So yeah, 50 1/2 inch is what we'll need here. Coming around to the driver's side, looks like yeah, 50 and 1/2. So let's join these tubes, and we're gonna make two pieces, 50 and 1/2. This one's 21 1/2 roughly. Yeah, these are both roughly 21 1/2, and we need 50 1/2. So I'm gonna join them like this. We're gonna take this, we're gonna pull this, ooh, is that even gonna work? 50 1/2. Man, we might be messing up all over the place. Give or take, just say 51. What happens when we come from this side? It's gonna be close, I'll tell you what. We always are running it to the edge. 45. All right, well, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna improvise. We're gonna find the middle of this. 52 1/2. So that's 4 foot 4 1/2. So that's 2 foot 2 1/4. That's 1 foot, 2 foot 2 1/4. So that's the center of this. In the perfect world, you just cut two pieces at 50 1/2. But if you don't have that opportunity, here's how you do it. All right, here's our predicament. We got these tubes, two that are a little bit longer than the other two. So we want to join them, but we want to sleeve them. So I'm going to cut out a section of these little stubs. We're going to shrink this with the pliers and then join them together. It's what you got to do when you don't have material nearby. So this is what I was getting at. We can take these big old pliers and give this a squeeze, and we can get it set in here. Kind of, sort of, in a roundabout way. Try to get this a little bit rounder. Yeah. All right, feel me on that? All right, we take this shorter piece, boom, we join them together. Then we'll weld them. All right. The old, look at that. One long straight tube. Let's do that again. Put a couple tacks on these. I'm going to roll it on the table to ensure that it's straight. We got those tacked. Bring one over to the car and find out how this is going to develop, because I know it's going to be a little bit short. All these fancy tools. I'm dropping my Sharpie holster. Come on, holster. I think it's still going to work. Cool. So let's take this door, and hopefully we can see this. Let me double check these glasses. There's a flange heading down here. Let's cut off this whole flange. Yeah, because we don't want anything turning down to interfere with this. We want to push this as far in as possible. Yeah, we definitely have a lot going on here when we're trying to figure this door out. Try to slide this out a bit. Wow, that actually makes it a lot easier to work on. Let's take out all this old bracketry. We got this thing here. Yeah, that was for that rotating pivot thing. And this is typical prototype stuff. Kind of going over your own work a number of times until it adds up. That looks pretty good. Just like that. So you can see the line on this tube. The glass potentially could travel right on that. Like it. Little interference right there, but no, we got that. It just went in. Cool. Let's tack that together. All right, so that's how that's going to lay out. We're going to pay attention to the other side mostly because this is unfinished, and what we do over there can just be transferred over here. So, and that mechanism is not as developed as this. You can see we got a bunch of stuff holding the door in place. Let's bring it around to that side. See, we have to cut out a whole bunch more over there, so gonna be a little hacking, a little fitting, and a lot of luck. I'm gonna slide this door open all the way, just like the other side, but there's nothing to hold it up, so I may just take it apart. Oh no, here we go. Cool, so that slid out. Let me check that camera. Yeah, this shows really good what's needing to be cut out. We still have the inner structure here, and we don't need any of that. We really gutted that on the other one, so yeah, let me see. Maybe I'll just take this off and put it right here on the floor. So I'm going to get in here with the grinder and just cut all this out. I mean, look, this isn't even attached, actually. Not going to be a lot of challenge for this. Maybe the Sawzall? Let's see. So this is where the door used to open, right here. Now this here is really strong, so I think I'm going to leave most of that in place. I can see on the other side, I think I just took a saw and went straight down, or maybe with the grinder. Let's see. Because the lock set is in place on that one. Let's do this. You know, I'm going to be honest, there is a deep part of me thinking that maybe this thing shouldn't have glass. Imagine if something happens with these doors and they won't open. At least that you'll be able to crawl out. Yeah, I'd be able to get out of this thing in a rush, but yeah, I don't know. We should be able to kick the windows out. You always think about that with a chop top. Something goes wrong. Yeah. Let's set this back into place. Like a glove. Like a glove that fits too tight. We're gonna make it work though. All right, so we got the interior of this thing cut out. You can see it's just an empty shell of the former door it used to be. And it matches the other side. So we're gonna put this tube in and then figure out what we're gonna do about the glass. Now it is unfortunate that I can't weld with these with the helmet, but maybe someday we'll get that. I have Jamie's little shield little handheld shield over here. So we're here to experiment and adapt. Try to give you the best show possible. All right, so this one looks like it's considerably more curved than the driver's side. Not sure if we can get this. Yeah, does that add up to anything? Makes it harder for me to see. So my torch, my control, not that good. This isn't auto darkening. But is that picking up anything? I don't know. I'm gonna try to work this. So one technique I used last time was this. I put my hand right over the arc, shields it, and shields me. That definitely gives it a lot of strength. I'll try to tighten this gap up just a little bit. Yeah, I'm gonna lay a piece of welding wire right in there. This is just mild steel. I'm gonna put one quick spot on this. And over here where this weld is, we'll just clip it off. And knock that down with the hammer a wee bit. I gotta remember not to move my head too fast. See, so that'll just fill that little difference. You see right here, it's gonna be a little bit of a challenge, right? So I put a tack there. Then I'm just gonna bring it up onto the rod, then onto the sheet metal. And they're all attached. So if you try to burn this too much, that little wire is gonna go pink and point the wrong way. All right, so that looks pretty reasonable. Nice, straight shot. All right, now for the second part of this adventure. I don't know how far we're gonna get with this because my measurements are somewhat debatable. I have a 20 gauge piece of sheet here, and I was measuring a piece of window glass, which is 1/4 of an inch thick. So 1/4 inch window glass, and then you have the window felt. Remember, these are gonna be sliders, so maybe I should look and see before I make this. But I think being a little bit loose is better than being a little bit tight. So let's just say if we were to get a window felt and we're to leave an 1/8 inch on each side of the 1/4 inch window, right? That would be a 1/2 inch. So what we're looking to do is we're looking to make a channel. So the glass sits in the channel, but it has room on each side for that weather strip, for a felt. So if we make a U shape, that's a 1/2 inch inside, and let's just say for now a 1/2 inch up, half, half, half. That's a 1.5 inch piece, right? And we know our doors, to form it, will be a 1.5 inch piece flat that we make into a U. And our doors, if we make a 52 inch piece, we have room to spare. So this will be for the bottom of the door. Going over the top will be the same detail, but curved. That's where it gets real exciting. So let's just experiment right now. We're gonna make a 52 inch piece by 1.5, and we're gonna fold it into this U shape and stick it on the door and see what's up. Let's just say on this 52 inches, we're coming in to here, 52. And then we're gonna want 1.5. So I'm actually gonna use this because the tape measure end is a little bit weird. So we're gonna say half, half, half. And we're going to cut on that. So I'm going to do here, there, there. Then I'm going to go there, there, and cut. Bring this through. This is where a stomp shear would come in really handy, because you would just put this thing in there and make a perfect straight cut. But I'm using a grinding disc. We're going to do the best we can. Cool. Just going to raise this up a little bit and then cut it with the disc. I don't want to distort this at all. That's why I'm cutting it with the grinder and not the Beverly shear. And I'm going to let it just fall right on the table. It's got to be a pretty reliable shape in the end. I'm going to make 2 of these while I'm at it, because we're going to need the same thing on the other side. So we cut 2 of these pieces identical, because there'll be one on the bottom for the driver's door and one for the passenger door. So I have these marks, and I think I misspoke a little bit. I was saying our glass was 1/4 inch, but I think the glass is probably 3/16. So either way, we have this 1/2 inch channel at the bottom, and that should be adequate for whatever felt we're putting in there. So let me take this, got this little sharp edge, let me get this off. Of course, I'll run the sander in there. Just bring it over to this brake. Now see, this is why the sheet metal brake has this angled edge here, because it can do this. Sometimes in the past I've run into trouble where the tool hits the material when I'm trying to form it. And we'll get away with this. I'll show you why. They're only going 90-degree bend, so right, 1/2, 1/2. So we're gonna pull that to 90 degrees. Yada yada. Right? It's a little bit off because this tool isn't perfect, but I could tap that shut later. Now this is where it might be tricky, because we only have a 1/2 inch grab on this, and the machine is a little bit worn out. Okay, let's put that here on that arrow. Sorry for the shaky cam. Now I'm going to open this side up, and you can see it's a little here and there with this tool. When I say here and there, it's not a perfect world. See, it's not hitting this arrow for some reason. That and then that. So you can see we can get away with that only to 90 degrees with the same dimensions. That being said, got a decent channel for the felt to sit in all the way down. It's straight, and see how it looks on the car. Yeah, so this top is a little bit wavy, but we can sand that to perfection. So you can see that's going to sit like such, but that's only a channel for 1 piece of glass. We need to have 2. Remember what we were saying? So they're going to slide past each other. So let's get on the table and make that section. For the second one, we're going to leave this here. We're going to leave this piece under this one. And we're going to come over. We have this mark here. We have that. And we want to give it that much more. And come up that far. So should roughly be 1.5 inches as well. Let's check that. We'll put that on the 10. So it's coming out a little bit more. So let's make that a hard 1.5 inch. Get that. Bring this from 10 to 11.5. I just explained this with the glasses, but I think it may not have translated. A little doubler if we need it. So for the second piece, we're going to need another identical U coming up directly next to this. So we have this. We want it to come out 1/2 and then up again. So I just made these marks, 1.5, and I'm going to cut this and put that in the break. So once again, explanation. We have this channel, and we want a channel right next to it, right? So this is going to sit on top. We want it to come out 1/2 inch. So we want a 1/2 inch rise. So just to say, that's our inch mark right there. And then 26. These numbers don't matter. Just using it for the half. So see, this is going to sit right there. It'll be a 1/2 inch channel and then a 1/2 inch rise. Bring it back over to here. We got the inch mark on the edge. We're going to have 1/2 and then that. I'll put a little star because, oops, whatever. I'll put a shape because that's what's going to go under. Let's go to the break. All right. So bring this in. Set it on the arrow. On the arrow. Pull that to 90. Yeah. So when we bring it back, we got that. And then this will tack weld right to it. So you have 2 even channels. And the glass will slide in here. One more shot in case we didn't get that. So you can see now we have 2 channels for the glass to slide to and fro. And that's how this is going to sit on the door, just like this. Of course it won't sit because we have a camera on the operation. Going handheld. So this is basically the layout. You can see you got 2 channels for 2 pieces of glass. Now that is going to have a surround. That's going to come up and around. That's going to be a pretty challenging scenario. But I'm up for it. Anybody else up for it? I think it's a good solution. The roll-up window wasn't going to happen. This is going to be super crazy. All right, me and Frank, we just had a discussion. We think it's going to work. I think next time we're going to do those surrounds. Not that we'll have glass, but it's going to make that door next level weird. See you then.